as I allow myself to begin to focus on God, then God can move in my life. Because like Stephen and we were talking earlier, they talk a lot about is God has always been here. God didn't just get here now. It's not like we begin to worship and then all of a sudden the presence of God is with us. God was there. It's simply we become first song, man, I forgot to tell y'all what it meant first off. Yeshua means Jesus. I kind of felt bad that I was ruining people's worship for a second to try to let them know what it means and stuff. And that one there isn't a good first song because it's one that, like, when you're doing it for an hour, there's a couple songs that was before that really get you in that spot to where then you're already there. So I kind of felt that, And guys, man, I just want y'all to know, thank you for allowing me to be me, for allowing me just to learn who I am and learn how to do this stuff without judging me, I know Steve and them, they think so highly of me, and I'm telling you, I'm not as good as they think I am, and I know that. You know what I mean? I'm not as bad as I think I am, but I'm also not as good as somewhat other people think of me because I'm a mess. I'm a mess when it comes inside of me, in my own mind, in my own life, what's going on in my life. I'm going to go turn on this light real quick for everybody. Will someone get the backlights, please? So like I say, you could wake her up or let her sleep. Man, she has a good habit of doing that. She gets so in the spirit and just fall out, and that's okay, man. If she has enough peace to be able to fall asleep, man, I ain't judging her. You know what I mean? At least she comes in here and wants to be part of us when she don't have to be, right? I know she got up at 3 o'clock this morning and went to work and still tried to come here. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, and that's what I see in it, man. Feel a lot of tensions around, you know what I mean? And it's kind of obvious and it's palatable, but the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what's going on today. It just depends on what we do with it. How are we going to get through it? How are we going to work with one another to not allow everything to become a stumbling block today? Because Jesus says offense is going to come. He didn't say it might come. Jesus says offense is going to come. What are you going to do with that offense? What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and allow it to become a stumbling block to you? Are you going to allow it to connect to your thoughts that never stop and allow your emotions to run wild with you? And then you're going to allow that to get there. And then you're going to end up, getting mad. And then you're going to hate this place. And then the next step is that you're walking out the door all because you just sit back for a second and allow whatever it is to pass on through. And just know that sometimes I need to just take a break and come lay on a bench so therefore I could catch my breath. Sometimes I need to just step back and allow the process to happen and not make a move in the moment, because you see, one of the first treatments I went to, they taught me HALT. HALT, which means hungry, angry, lonely, tired. When I'm feeling any of those emotions, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, I need to stop. I don't need to make decisions. I don't need to act. When I'm feeling angry, when I'm feeling something, that ain't the time for me to speak. Sometimes it's time for me to just say, I need to be quiet for a little bit. Sometimes it just means I need to step over here for a second. Sometimes it means I need to readjust the way I'm thinking. Even if the other person is in the wrong sometimes, doesn't mean I need to address it right now. But yet I'm just telling you, if you continually walk through these things together and allow people to have bad days, and then allow, even if it comes like with Amanda, I know y'all having a talk with Amanda, whatever happens, you know what I mean? If y'all don't give up on each other and y'all allow people just to, and then you guys are doing good, but if you just don't give up on people and you just sit there and you're like, okay, I know I don't like you in this moment, but I'm going to choose to love you, and I'm going to choose to allow this to pass, and then I'm not going to keep pushing that, and then by tomorrow, by tonight, by whenever, that very thing that you thought was going to divide you actually strengthens you, because now you guys know that you can get through some things. That's how relationship works. Relationship is messy. Relationship hurts. And that's why we run so much from relationships and we close off and we don't want nothing to do with people because people hurt us and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, we are created for relationship. We are created to be attached to other people. That's why the devil and that's why the enemy only wants to break our relationships. He wants to get us fighting. He wants to get us contentious. He wants us to get envy of each other. He wants us to get mad. He wants us to get all these other emotions working through us. So therefore, we will turn on each other and we will start talking bad about each other. The worst thing we could ever do inside of this program and inside of this house is to start talking bad about one another, or talking bad about the leadership, or start noticing everything going on bad about something. Because when we don't catch those thoughts and we allow those thoughts to become a communication between two people, then it's going to catch on to a third person. And if we don't stop it right away and just know things are going to happen, sometimes we take that step back and we just allow, I mean, I don't know, whatever that means, okay? Whatever it means, y'all are going to get through it. Man, it's going to work with y'all. I don't even know what's going on. I really don't. All I know is what I've seen, just a little bits, and I can feel the tension. I can feel it. But you guys are going to work through it. You gals are going to work through it. You know, and I pray you do. I pray you do, because we're going to talk a little bit about spiritual warfare again. Let's put up. These are Pastor Dick's teachings. He doesn't just say this is spiritual warfare, but this is what I see it is. This here is spiritual warfare, without a doubt. And just since we got some new people here, I'm going to kind of go over. Can you turn on the lights a little bright? Are you back there? Just so maybe the board can be shined up just a little bit. All right, thank you. These are four of Pastor Dick's main teachings, so I just want to break down the teachings just for a second again. I know a lot of people have already been here, and that's okay, because if you ain't got it down yet, I mean, like maybe in a couple weeks, so you know you'll be up here teaching people this then. You know what I mean? So stick with me. Stick with me, because this is the most important things you'll ever learn here. I believe that. I believe that with all my heart. The reason I believe that, because these are the things that made the most difference in my life. Okay, the first one is this right here. This is where all the spiritual warfare is going to happen. We picture all the spiritual warfare out here. We picture angels, we picture demons, we picture all of this other stuff. And is that stuff happening? Well, that's scriptural, but I don't really care about all that. The truth of the matter is it's all happening right here. The demons, the devil, the enemy, the whatever you want to call it, he's going to work through your flesh. He's going to work through your desires, specifically your unchecked desires. That would be like anger. That would be like lust. That would be like whatever it is, but he's going to work through your flesh, okay? And then God, he's going to work through your spirit. And the real war that's going on is for your soul, okay? Your soul. What is your soul? Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions, right? And so therefore, I come over here to this next teaching knowing that the spiritual warfare is for my soul. My soul being my thoughts, my emotions, and my actions, or my mind, my will, and my actions. But the way that this works, is the enemy's going to start speaking some things to you. And you're going to hear something, or you're going to have a thought of something. And the next thing you know, you have an emotion attached to that thing. So therefore, I have angry thoughts. So therefore, my emotions begin to become angry. And then when I have angry emotions and I haven't checked my thoughts, they become actions. And so my angry thoughts become angry emotions, which become angry actions. And those actions become the fruit of my life. And so therefore, if I don't, this here representing my thoughts, this car representing my thoughts here at the top of the hill, it hasn't got started yet. This car being in neutral, it's just like bang, it's just there. You see, if that thought, if you catch it like a car, if you catch it at the top of the hill before it gets momentum, you can hold a car. A single person can hold a car all day long. Not all day. I mean, of course, you get tired. I'm a preacher. I exaggerate. But, okay, the thing of the matter is that you can, at the top of a hill, there's a car there in neutral. You can pretty much hold that car there. That car's not going to do nothing. But if you allow that car or that thought to catch momentum, if you let that thought, when it hits that emotion, catch momentum, and then you try to catch it, when you're already angry, when you're already frustrated, when you've already got to a place that you know you're about to strike and you know you're about to do something else, then it's going to eat you up down there. You cannot stop a car at the bottom of the hill once it started getting motivation. It'll run you over. And it's the same exact thing in spiritual warfare. If you don't catch your thoughts, they're going to turn into emotions, they're going to turn into actions, and it's going to destroy your life. Here's another thing, and this is the beautiful thing, because we're training ourselves to have different thoughts, right, Jackie? We're training ourselves one thought at a time to have different thoughts. So today, like Jackie, you're working on being grateful every day. Joyful. And joy comes from gratitude, but joyful. So now I'm training myself to have joyful thoughts. Because when I can have joyful thoughts, my emotions will start to feel a little bit joyful, even though it feels weird. Even though it feels weird. But then for me, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So when I start to wake up and I have grateful thoughts, then I start to feel grateful. And when I feel grateful, my actions are coming from a place of gratitude. Gratitude meaning if I'm grateful for what I have, I'm able to help someone else out with what I got. All right? And so I help someone, and then that gratitude goes full circle. Now that becomes the fruit of my life. And then I look around, and my life is just different. I'm no longer angry. I'm no longer sad. I'm no longer lustful. I'm no longer whatever it is you want to put in, whatever thought you're dealing with. Whatever thought you're dealing with. But I'm telling you, this is the process. There's no other way to look at it, because your first thought, which is your belief system, because remember that thoughts or your belief is just a thought that you have determined is true. You believe what you have determined is true, which is what we was talking about last night, just catching them thoughts, right? We catch those thoughts because, yes, when I have an emotion, that emotion tells me that thought is real. The emotion tells me it's real. I feel this and I know it, so it's real. But yet then I take the gap. Because you see, I start catching my thought, and I'm like, well, hold on. Is it real? Is what's going on real? What's going on? And I try to catch it. And the more I do it, the larger the gap gets between the time I have a thought and the time I act. And so therefore, I start to just get to a small place, one thought at a time, one day at a time, 1 second at a time. But before I know it, I'm not reacting anymore. I'm taking the time to think and to process, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing things that I shouldn't be doing anymore as frequently. Because let me tell you, my life is a mess, y'all. I still be messing up. God's still working on me. I still get mad. Man, y'all know I left on Monday. That's y'all, man. I got home, and I'm telling you, me and my daughter was in a cussing fight about fist fighting. Woo, that was bad. You know what I mean? Because when I got there, I knew what was going on, and I got there, and then I was like, I didn't control it. I just like, you know what I mean? And was I right? And no, I wasn't right because of the way that I acted out upon it. I should have handled myself different. Was I right? Absolutely, because she was so far in the wrong. And I am her dad, but yet I still should have held myself differently. I didn't catch my emotions because I knew what was going to be when I got to the house. And exactly what I knew was going to be at that house was at that house, and I'm so thankful I let that CR meeting to get there so that way I could get things in my house under control before the cops ended up at my door again. You know what I mean? And so I'm wigging out. I'm like, nah! You know what I mean? Because I got anger issues too. I got real bad anger issues, but yet it's not as bad as it once was because I've got a bigger gap than I've ever had. I have a bigger gap. Why? Because I understand that it's all after my soul. He's after my mind. He wants me to get crazy. He wants me to be in a delusional state because I don't understand what's going on. He wants me to start chasing my emotions, saying, I feel this, so this has got to be that. And then we start seeing things. And it's just like, this is that, and this is that. And we start putting these pieces together, and they fit to us, and they're real to us. But the truth of the matter is, because we didn't catch it so often, we're walking in a delusional state, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it, and we get in these states, and we just allow these things to fester inside of us, and then our eyes become not good. In the Bible, it says, when Jesus, he said, take that plank out of your own eye before you start talking to your brother, trying to fix your brother. What he's saying is fix that stuff inside of you. Because when you start fixing that stuff inside of you,
and you start getting a bigger gap in front on this, guess what? You'll just handle things different and you'll see things different. Because right now, if you're in a bad mood and you're mad, I guarantee you ain't seeing things correctly. You ain't seeing them correctly because you're filtering it through anger. When we come in this program and we're feel full of trauma and we're feel full of things that aren't good, you ain't seeing right because you're seeing out of trauma. You're beginning to say, man, yeah, that person said something nice to me, so they got to be wanting something. Because you see, in my life, whenever someone was good to me, that means they wanted something from me. So therefore, he's good to me, so I got to push him away. So therefore, I push him away because I'm not going to open myself up. And I'm not going to open myself up because if I open myself up, he's going to hurt me just like that last person. And so therefore I start seeing all the things people are doing, so therefore I see the bad in them, so that way I won't let them near me. Because if I let them near me, they're going to hurt me. But the truth of the matter is we're built for creation. From the beginning, we're built for relationship. We need one another. We need one another. The whole entire scripture is put upon relationship. The only thing that is going out of this life with us is relationship. If you believe in an eternity, if you believe in a heaven, the only thing going with us is relationship. The very first one is our relationship with our Father God. After that is our relationships with everybody else. So that's why he just when we catch that revelation that it's all about relationship and how we can help each other out, because I want you to become better than you was yesterday. I just want you to be better than you was yesterday, and it's okay that you're hurting. It's okay that you got full of trauma. I see that the reason that you're acting out is because you're trying to push away from where you're at. You're not comfortable dealing with your emotions today, so I want to run today. And that's okay. And no, that's not okay for them to act a certain way because of that, but it's okay for me to allow them to be where they're at. And then let everything else deal with it. I hope that kind of makes sense. I know I kind of ran a circle there, but that's the absolute truth. It's okay where people are. I could accept you where you're at today. And I could say, I'm going to love you even though you're wrong. And sometimes love just means I'm going to get away from you for now. Sometimes love means I'm just going to step back. Y'all can trip all you want. I'm not going to trip with you. You know what I mean? I'm going to go sit in my own little lane over here. You know what I mean? I'm going to get my lane today, and I'm going to let all that work out. You know what I mean? Because I'm a little bit angry, and I'm a little bit lonely. I'm a little bit tired, so I just need to halt. You know what I mean? I'm always hungry. Just look at me. But, you know, whatever, that's dumb. But I'm just telling you guys, this stuff, shit. Oh, my God. I get worked up. I just be cussing. I do. I'm catching it. I'm getting better, y'all. I'm getting better. Like I said, I'm just a mess like you guys. The only difference is I come through these doors 6 years ago, not 2 days ago. I came through these doors 6 years ago, and I've been working on my inner man, and I've been trying to distinguish the difference between what the spirit and the flesh is saying. The hardest absolute thing for me in my spiritual walk has been to differentiate between what God is saying and what I am saying. Because my voice and God's voice feels so much alike at times. You know what I mean? Man, it's just like the two are like the same, and it really is. But here it is 6 years later, and I just have a better idea of it, of when God's speaking. And the number one thing I'm going to tell y'all when y'all are young, stop trying to figure it out. If God says something, just say okay, and then let him show you what it means. Too often I tried to put all the pieces together. I'm like, he said do this, and I'm like, all right, I do that, and then it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like this, and I try to set up everything I think I want him to do, and then I'll be getting mad at people because they're not doing the way I want them to do it, and then if I sit back and I stop and I realize that if it was God, it's getting done anyways. I got some things going on around here that's been like that here lately, you know what I mean? Because we got a lot of transitioning going, and I got to remember that we're all people and we're all working together, and God's working it all out, and I started getting frustrated about some things, and I had to stop and check myself. I had to stop and check myself and go into my prayer closet and ask God to show me what's going on. Now I could kind of see how it happened, and I was able to have some good conversations with people. So therefore, we can continue moving, and I was able to see that because I didn't explode, that I didn't go the wrong way, and I didn't let them thoughts get too far out, we were all pretty much on the same page anyways. It didn't look exactly like I thought it should look, and so I started getting frustrated, but it turns out it's all working out pretty close to similar to how God showed me it was going to work out. See, I didn't have to make it work. He just showed me some things that were going to happen. And so I did my part, which was like when we went to the revival thing at the city hall.
Y'all remember that. Remember, I was like, man, when we go to these things, when we get out in the public, we just need to be ourselves, and we need to show people, we need to be committed, and we need to get out there. And when we're ourselves, when these people are going to see what's going on with this place, and they're going to see a difference. And I still believe that everywhere we go, we're just going to continue loving each other. But something happened that day, and some people seeing some things, and all of a sudden, because of that, because we were ourselves, we have things happening that it just looks like some positive things coming back to the program. Well, we thought we might have to close the doors. It's looking like things are looking good again. You know why? All because I was like, yeah, I believe God said we're supposed to go to the thing. And so I fought for that, but then I couldn't even go to it. You know what I mean? But y'all got to go to it. And so I didn't need to be there. I just needed to speak it out and do my part, and then y'all went and did your part, and then someone else seen that, and then God worked through all of it, and now it looks like some things, positive things are working through it. I'm just like, wow, God. Wow, I don't have to protect myself. I don't have to make it happen. I don't have to make it happen. And I'm going to stop trying to control everything around me. I'm going to stop trying to control everything around me. And you hear what I said? I'm going to try to stop controlling everything around me because I do it. It's a natural thing that flows from me. I'm going to get my seat so that way I can actually read a couple scriptures to y'all today. Otherwise, I'll keep on preaching. And you got something to say? Sorry. Love you, Rhino. My bad. Not my bad. I like it. I love it. You know. Oh, man. Rhino's a good guy, too, man. I love that guy. So happy he's here. We don't give up, do we? What happens when we don't give up, right? Ain't your life a testimony right now what happens? You know what I mean? Look at that, man. Man, just don't give up. Oh, I should have bought a bottle of water. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I'll take some. No, I got some. I drink right here, Shandra. Right here. I don't mind. It's cool. I drink right with Shandra. Yeah, me and Shandra, see, we went to the program together. I'm pretty close to her. I don't mind drinking out of her cup. Man, so I'm going to read a couple scriptures to y'all. I'm going to just prove what I just said to you a little bit in scripture, all right? This is spiritual warfare right here. This is spiritual warfare. It's what's going on. Our mind is getting into our emotions, and our emotions lead to our actions when unchecked. See, the thing is when unchecked. It's unchecked. But I'm going to start in 1 James. I'm going to start at 12 through 15. It's okay. I'll let y'all get a chance to get it. Who are messaging me? Yeah. The actual size. Okay, I'll have to check them out later. All right. James 1, 12 through 15. Man, it is warm in here. Maybe it's just me. I got hyped up. I'll be loving getting hyped up, man. It feels good sometimes. You know. James 1, the first chapter of James, verse 12 through 15 is what I'm going to start with. It says, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterwards, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. Here's the big thing. Listen to what this says, because this is the key to spiritual warfare, I believe. I believe this is the ultimate key. It says, temptation comes from our own desires. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. That word desire there, in some of y'all's Bible, it's going to say lust. I don't really like the translation lust because it has a different understanding of what we mean. The word desire is a little bit better, easier. But when I went up this morning, I went through and I was like trying to figure out what the actual Greek word was and what it meant and all that. It really just means unchecked passions. Your unchecked desires. That I got an emotion. I got a thought. And it turned into an emotion. But I didn't check it. So it says temptation comes from my own desires.
Temptation comes from my own unchecked passions, my unchecked emotions, my unchecked whatever it is, my unchecked thoughts. It all starts from my unchecked thoughts. And it's all about learning a bigger gap. That's what that one verse is saying, at least to me. I hope maybe it's sticking with you guys. Maybe I'm not just crazy. I am a little bit crazy. I do get a little bit excited, but I'm sure that is it. Temptation comes from our own desires. So where's it come from? Our own desires. That meaning the only thing the devil can do is work upon your own desires, those things that you have to work on. The devil can't even tempt you outside of your own desires. So when you get triggered on something and something's frustrating you, guess what? That's a desire you need to work on. So instead of letting the devil say the devil's ruling me, tell the devil, thank you for exposing where you're working at, so therefore I can change it. You know? What's up, Pete? Right, you can't tempt me with that I don't like. You know what I mean? What don't you like? You know, think, well, you ain't going to tempt you. He's only going to tempt you with what you like, right? But most of it, and I'm going to read another here coming up soon, but temptation comes from our own desires which entice us and drag us away. So our unchecked passions, our unchecked thoughts, our unchecked, whatever you want to call it, when we don't check them emotions and figure out where they're coming from, they will entice us. They will drag us into doing something that we shouldn't do. And therefore, when we do that, then it drags us away from where we're supposed to be. These desires give birth to sinful action. So when I don't check, when these unchecked desires, they turn into sinful actions. Sin, when it is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. And yes, we could talk about it, but this version of death is like a spiritual death. When I get angry and I start acting out and I don't do what I'm supposed to do and I start doing things I'm not supposed to do, I stop listening to God. And when I stop listening to God, I start only hearing myself. And then I get completely separated from God, not because God is separated from me, but because I'm not paying attention. And now I'm only listening to my flesh. I'm no longer listening to my spirit. And it's just the opposite way. When I begin to listen to my spirit and I begin to hear the things of the spirit and I start to slowly start to work on them thoughts and I start to do these things slowly, next thing you know, I hear God clearer and clearer and clearer, and these things become easier and the gap is built bigger. And next thing I know, like I said, I'm just doing things different than I used to do. All because I started to catch one thought, one emotion at a time. All because I come and get help when I need help. All because I didn't have to be in control. All because I didn't have to lead the way. All because I could just say, yes, I'm going to allow God to be my protector today. But I'm going to read something here because you see, the principles of God have never changed. The very principles of God have always been the same. I know we're in the new covenant. It's not the old covenant, and we can go into all these other things that most of us don't understand. But the actual principles of God have never changed. That's why in Romans, where it says that there's no excuse for a non-believer to not believe, because they are even he says the non-believer is even practicing the law of God and don't even know it. Okay, in Romans. And so as I tell them, were they practicing the law of Moses? Or the Jewish laws? No, they wasn't practicing that. Was they practicing the civil code? No, because they don't even know what the heck that is, because I don't even know what that is. You know, what they were practicing was called the law, the moral law, which is just be good to one another. It just means love one another. It just means help one another out when you can, man. It just means don't make things worse. You know what I mean? It means I see someone that don't pick and poke at people when you know what I mean? But yeah, the laws of God have never changed. And I'm going to show you that law, that principle right there. The principle that we just seen, and I'm going to go back real quick because it says, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. You see that? But afterwards. Why it got to be afterwards? Why can't I just have it before? Why I got to go through these emotions? Why I got to learn how to deal with people? Right, because you ain't going to appreciate it unless you go through it. You're not going to know that you can have a relationship with people until you get through some funk with them. Pastor talks about that infatuation stage. You know, when you first get in a relationship with somebody, everything's perfect. You start seeing them like they rosy, everything else. It ain't true love until you've gone through some things and you see that you see the faults in someone and then you still choose to stay. When you start seeing the faults around this building and around this program, you're like, man, this place is kind of messed up, but I'm going to choose to stay and I'm going to choose to love them. You know, that's when you can tell me you love this program. When you've gone through some things and you've had some hard times around here and you're not looking through rosy-eyed glasses anymore and you see that this place is kind of messed up and then you say, yeah, but I still am going to stay because I see the good in it. I see it. Then you can tell me you love this place. You'll learn to love one another when you go through the problems that you got to get through. When you get through some things and then you still continue to love one another and you still continue to build each other up, then you truly love that person. You know, until then, it's just infatuation. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's easy to love everybody when things are going good. When life's going good, we clicking and it's all going good, man. I love you. I love you. Next thing you know, the very first thing they do wrong, I hate you. Get out of my life. Ooh. You know what I mean? You never loved them. You know, shut up. I'm going to stop. You know what I mean? But it's true. It's true. But God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterwards, they will receive the crown of life. So we're going to go over to Genesis chapter 4 because the principles of God have never changed. Let me find where it is. I'll be highlighting this Bible. I'm telling you. All right, I'm going to start at 6. No, chapter 4. Or chapter 4, verse 4 of Genesis. Genesis 4:4. All right, so what's going on here? All right, so I'm gonna give you all a little bit of what's been happening. You know, so Adam and Eve were in the garden. They had it all good. They're walking around. They're just loving it. They're walking with God in the cool of the day. Things are just straight up good. All of a sudden, they were tempted, and what they were tempted with, I believe, was with that fruit. We know it was the apple, but it was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they bit from it. I believe that saying. You know how all of a sudden they were vulnerable. All of a sudden, they seen that they had cares and worries, meaning all of a sudden they didn't think God could protect them. All of a sudden, they didn't see that it was enough. And they continually caught on to that, and that's what happened. But whatever. They were in the garden. Everything was going on in the garden, and then they get kicked out the garden because they tripping, you know. They ain't doing what they supposed to, and now they're out of the garden. And now they had kids. They had Cain and Abel. And so it says, now Adam, starting at 1, now Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve. Man, they didn't even have, never mind. It was after the garden, man. What was they doing in the garden? Remember, shut up, John. I mean, with the Lord's help, I produced. So starting at verse 4, so I don't get sidetracked. We could talk about sidetrack talks offside of chapel. You know, I think it's kind of crazy. When we start looking at this stuff, I mean, it's pretty cool, man. How mad? Come on, man. Whatever. They were just running around butt naked, just loving each other, having a great old time, man. You know, and by butt naked, I believe that they were. I believe that means that, huh? Yeah, I just mean when they were butt naked, what I really believe that is a symbol for us today means that they were just completely vulnerable. You know, because the first thing they did was seeing that they had worries and cares, and they tried to cover their own worries. And that's really what it is. I know it sounds funny. They was running around butt naked. We get that picture of them butt naked or whatever. You know, but the truth is they was just vulnerable. They just believed that God could take care of everything. Then all of a sudden they seen good and evil. They seen what could happen. And so they started to worry. They started to have vulnerabilities. And so for their first thing was, I need to cover myself. I can no longer allow God's protection around me because what if this happens? What if that happens? And so they got up in worry and they started to try to cover themselves. And so for when they covered themselves, they were out of the garden because they were in the garden. We have complete trust of God. All right, it's just kind of like whatever. I mean, I don't want to get... But Abel also, it says so starting at 3, we'll go back up to 2. I know I'm confusing. I'm sorry, y'all. Thank y'all for working with me and letting me be me. Later, she gave birth to his brother and named him Cable. When they grew up, Abel, I'm still learning to talk without these teeth, man. Oh,
so glad I got him pulled, but sorry, I got him, whatever. Abel became a shepherd while Cain cultivated the ground. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crops as a gift to the Lord. Abel also brought a gift, the best portions of the firstborn lambs from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. So again, what we're talking about is persevering through temptation, because when we persevere through temptation, then we will have a crown. So you see, God accepted, for some reason, he accepted Abel's gifts, but he didn't accept Cain's. And so he got mad, he got angry, he got irritated. How many times have we seen around us someone else getting something, and we're like, we got mad because why they got that? Why is things going good in their life, but I don't have it. I don't have that. I should have that, blah, blah, blah. And we get that anger in us, and we get jealousy, and we get envy inside of us. And then we start getting selfish ambition. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to get what I need to get. Now I'm going to start hurting other people, whether it be emotionally or whatever, so that way I could get what I need to get, but yet I'm hurting other people, whatever. I mean, and that's just the way it works. That's what the rest of James says. But here's this. Check this out, though. Check this out. In Genesis 4, God told Cain, why are you so angry? He's like, because you didn't accept my gift. Are you dumb? No, whatever. But why are you so angry? The Lord asked Cain, why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. But you must subdue it and be its master. You see, from the very beginning, God was telling us, man, you're just going to have to catch those thoughts and those emotions. Because if you persevere through this and you don't give up and you don't allow your thoughts and your emotions to become negative actions, then you're going to have good fruit. But you're going to have to persevere through this, Cain. You're going to have to persevere what you're going through. Ain't nobody going to be here to be able to do it for you. You're going to have to do it. You know, it's that same thing we just read about in James. James said, if you persevere, you're going to receive this crown. And he says, don't allow, your unchecked emotions, your desires, your lust. Don't allow what you think you want to control you. Because if you allow what you think you want or your emotions are telling you to control you, you're going to be enticed and turned away to death. And this is the passage to me which best reveals that, because then guess what? First off, it says the sin anger is crouching at the door, eager to control you. He says, but you can subdue that. You can catch that thought at the top of the hill. You ain't got to let it control you. You ain't got to. It's a choice if you allow yourself to or not. But he says one day, Cain suggested to his brother, let's go out into this field. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and he killed him. You see, because unchecked emotion, unchecked passions and desires, he didn't catch his thoughts. Even though God was warning him and God was saying, hey, man, just calm down, you'll be all right. As long as you get through this, I got a promise for you on the other side, and that promise is your life's going to be all right. But if you go ahead and you start talking bad about your brother, because Jesus says even being angry at your brother, talking foul about your brother, hatred in your heart towards your brother is the same as killing him. You know what I mean? And so I'm just telling you right now, you're allowing hate in your heart to build up for somebody, for anybody, especially those in this house right now, in this program right now, in this leadership right now. You know what I mean? I mean, we got to work on all of our outside issues still, too. But I'm saying right here in this house right now, right here in the girls' house, right here in the guys' house, right here in the Hannah House program, we're going to have to work and learn how to deal with relationships with one another. Because if we don't, we're going to check out, and we're going to be out of here, and there ain't nothing good waiting for you out there. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing good waiting on the outside of that. But you see, Cain killed his brother. Cain didn't listen to God and killed his brother. You know, but the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out. He says, now you are cursed and banished from the ground which has swallowed your brother's blood.
No longer will the ground yield crops for you, no matter how hard you work. From now on, you will be a homeless wanderer on the earth. You see, because he didn't catch that sin, and that sin got a hold of him, and he started to allow them emotions to control him, and those sinful actions, or those sinful thoughts became sinful actions, and those sinful actions led to death. Cain replied to the Lord, my punishment is too great for me to bear. How many?
Lord, my consequences, they just too much for me. Boy, that sounds like me so many times. You know what I mean?
Suck it up, buttercup. Just know there are going to be actions if you don't make the right steps. And this ain't the time to play around. Our economy is going to crap. There's so much stuff going on out there, man. Pierce ain't there. We ain't got guaranteed another chance. We got this time, y'all. We got this time. We got this time. Yeah, because sometimes I've made it back, but this ain't that time. This is this time. We got right now to get this right. We got right now to get this together. We got right now, because why we got to wait for next time? There might not be a next time. You know what I mean? I have too many friends who have not had a next time. We have too many brothers and sisters who went through this program who thought they had a next time. They just don't. They don't. Too bad. But you have banished me from the land of and from your presence. You banished me from your presence. Boy, that's what it means when it says James is talking about death there, y'all. He's talking about when you decide to not check your thoughts and not check your emotions and allow your unchecked passions and your unchecked emotions to rule who you are, and they become your actions, the fruit is going to be spiritual death. And it's not that God isn't there, it's you are going to check out, really. You're going to decide not to listen to God. And you're not going to listen to him, and you're going to do your own thing, and then all of a sudden you can't tell what's God and what's not anymore. But the promise here is, just like to Cain, if we will check them emotions, if we will check those thoughts, and if, I'm going to just say, I love the Bible like in this, man. He says, if you will be accepted if you do what is right. Just do what is right. That's what it's just telling you. Stop and think before you act. Stop and think before you act, y'all. Halt. Halt. Stop. Stop. Because you don't want that thought to run you over. I don't want to see y'all go back out. I want to see everybody, like I see Abby there at Monday. Man, she was there. She was telling Johnny about her visit. She had this bright joy inside of her. I seen it. She just had this joy. She was so happy. So happy. Because she got to go and be with her dad, and she got to go be with her mother, and she got all this stuff. Why? Because she didn't give up. Because she went through what was happening. That there was tests and there was temptations and there was trials to leave. But she checked those thoughts and she checked those emotions and she decided, I'm going to stay right where I'm supposed to be. And I allowed those emotions to go through, and I didn't bottle them, and I felt them, and then the next day I might have felt a little better, but at the end of the day, 6.5, 8 months, 20 more years, I don't really know, whatever, but she got this reward of going to see her mom and having a vacation. She had that joy inside of her, and it's been carrying her through this week, all because she didn't allow her thoughts to control her. She didn't allow her emotions to control her. She decided, I'm going to listen to the Spirit of God. And sometimes the Spirit just says, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to feel mad. And I'm going to say things don't line up, and I don't like the way things are feeling, and my mind's messed up. And I don't care. I'm not chasing them thoughts. You can't have my emotions today because I don't care. Yeah, I might feel they messing around with me, but no, they ain't. I'm going to just sit here and say, no, it ain't. Devil, you ain't got no place in my life. You ain't going to allow me to trick up my emotions like that. You ain't going to control me. Who you think you is? You already defeated. You already defeated. I'm not going to allow the devil to control me today. I might feel them emotions. And when you feel them, God, I mean, like when we babies in here, of course we don't know how to deal with our emotions. If we knew how to deal with our emotions, we wouldn't have been doing what we was doing. You know, and so, I mean, we just got to break that cycle, and sometimes it's the most challenging thing we'll ever do, which is just sit there in them. I mean, because that's the most challenging thing I ever did, was to learn how to sit with my emotions and sit with my thoughts and not go back to what I knew. Because I could go back to what I knew. I was okay being a failure at the end. I'd accepted I'm a failure. That was easy for me. You know what I mean? I'm a mess up. Oh, well. I could live in that identity. I didn't like it, but it's okay. I could go back and whatever you're mad, whatever you're old, but we don't revert back to where we was. We're going to make a decision to go forward. We're going to make that decision to say, God, I trust in you. And I don't care what I feel in this moment. I'm not giving up. Devil, you're not going to get me to give up. Devil, you're not going to get me to hate my brother. Devil, you're not going to get me to hate my sister. I'm going to be mad at him right now, but I'm going to forgive him. I don't care. I'm going to forgive this time. I'm going to forgive next time, and yeah, they making me mad, but I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to get a little bit of sleep. And I'm going to let this day go by, and I might be a little bit in my feelings, and I might be a little bit distant today, and I might need a little bit of space today, and please give me a little bit of space today if I need a little bit of space today. But at the end of the day, I want to choose to love you today, and I'm going to choose to love you tomorrow, and even if I'm mad at you and you need something to eat, here you go, let me feed you, because I love you regardless of the way I feel. I'm mad at you, and it's a little bit cold outside, and then I got a jacket. I'm going to give you a jacket even though I'm mad. I'm mad. I don't even like you. I'm so mad at you right now, but here, how can I help you right now? Because love is to say, I'm mad, but I'm still going to love you. Because love is an action. We go over this. I've gone over this a lot. Love is saying, I have a worldly good. I have something, and yet, therefore, I'm willing to help you with what I have. I'm willing to help you with what I have so you can take the next step in your life. And it's really that simple. That's what love is. Love ain't even the feeling. Yes, love produces a feeling, but so does anger. Love is the action. Love is how can I build you up. Love is what can I do to get you to take that next step. Love is just simply saying I'm here to listen to you. You don't even need a solution. You know what I mean? Most of the time, how many times we don't need a solution? We don't need someone to try to tell us how to fix our problems. We've already gone over all the different solutions in our head. Sometimes we just need to be left alone. Other times we just need someone to listen so we can vent it to them. And we just need someone to accept us. And other times, I don't really know, man. Sometimes you're going to explode and you're going to get mad like I did the other day with my daughter. But the next day, I was able to send a message and tell her what God was working on in my heart and what God has been showing me. And I was able to give her a message and to reveal to her some dreams I've been having and some things. And I was able to guide her. And here it is a couple days later, me and my daughter are getting along again. And I mean, like, for real getting along. And I see that she accepted that message that I sent to her saying, hey, slow down a little bit, baby girl. I see you going the wrong way, you know? Because I knew that she was acting out like she was because of all the stuff going in her life. And then I acted out because all the stuff going in my life, and we started feuding. And we started fighting. You know what I mean? But you see, we didn't give up on each other. And so I'm just saying, don't give up on one another. Don't kill your brother. Worst thing you could ever do, ever around here, is start talking bad about one another. Start nitpicking the leadership. If you see someone start talking bad about the leaders around here or your brothers around here, you stop them right there. Stop them right there. And you'll see me all the time. There's things I don't agree with. I'll be like, yep, I back Amanda up. You know what I mean? Don't come to me talking bad about my brothers and sisters. I promise you I'm going to stop you. I might even agree with you that they're wrong. But I don't need you talking bad about them. Because that ain't going to help nobody. We're going to talk good about one another, or we're just going to shut our mouths. We might feel a little bit of a certain way about somebody, and we don't like the actions and how they act, and they might be getting on our nerves a little bit, like, you know what I mean? Like they might be getting on our nerves, but I don't need to start talking about every bad thing about them, because that ain't going to help nothing, you know? And so I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. So, Father God, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity to speak my heart to the people here in this room, Father. Father, I hope that they see that the only thing the devil has is an opportunity to mess with their emotions. And the only way that he messes with their emotions is that he messes with their thoughts. So, Father God, I ask for godly thoughts, Father God. And I ask, Father God, that you will show them how to continually work on stopping those thoughts before they get motivation. Because if we stop our thoughts before they get motivation, Father God, Lord, we are able to hear what the Spirit would have to say. And so, Father, I ask that we continually grow in our ability to hear the Spirit, and that we are able to follow the Spirit, Father God. For we know that when we follow the Spirit's leading, it always leads to life. And it leads to not only life, but life more abundant. And so I speak that abundance over everybody here in this room.